recording
Hey,
take 2.
we need this.
Yeah. This is all good for us. Okay, now sit back, relax. We're going to begin here in just a moment in 3, 2, 1. Welcome to Never Too Late, Real Stories of Reinvention, where we share the stories of dream chasers, career changers, and people with the courage to reinvent themselves. I'm Eric Cooter, and each episode I sit down with someone who's taken the lead, discovered a new path, or found joy in the unexpected. These conversations are about hope, resilience, and reminding us all that it's never too late to chase your dreams. Now, all that's behind us, so let's get started. I have the distinct joy today, and by the way, I actually have the joy of being with my dear friend Joe twice this week because we attempted to do this yesterday at my house in a live setting, and we recorded really well. I think it was a good interview, but unfortunately, it didn't work. So we're doing this remotely, and I just want to thank Joe for having the tenacity to try again. So thanks, Joe, for being with me. Joe is an incredible guy. I've known him probably for, my gosh, at least 10 or 15 years. I'd say at least 15 years we've known each
15
other.
years it's now, yes.
Yeah, and we go back to Punta Gorda, but I'm going to let Joe talk about our background and some of the things that we've done together. But Joe's a great guy. He's definitely someone who's reinvented himself a few times. And I'm just so grateful for his presence and being a guest on the show. So I think you're going to love his story. So, Joe, do me a favor if you would, before we jump into your history, can you kind of tell our listeners a little bit, maybe how we met and how we connected, and just kind of go from there if you would.
Well, yeah, it's about 15 years now. Yeah, I'm living 16 years in the US, so it's 15 years. And I moved to Punta Gorda, Florida, beautiful little town. And I joined Civil Air Patrol because I wanted to have some more flight hours and experience. And in one of the first meetings, there is this guy, and he is introducing him as the chaplain, where I honestly did not know that Civil Air Patrol has a chaplain. And from there on, I had the feeling this guy is special. And we clicked off, I think, from the first meeting. We talked after that meeting quite a while together. And from there on, we did a lot of things together. We trained cadets, we flew together, and yeah, we had a special connection and still have.
Absolutely. Yeah. Civil Air Patrol is the Air Force Auxiliary. And if you don't know, and I joined as a cadet years ago, so I've always loved being able to help cadets. But one of the things that we get to do as pilots is the cadets get up to 6 orientation rides. They get an exposure. It's not flight training, but it's exposure to what it's like to actually sit in the left seat of an airplane.
Yes.
And as if they were being taught. But it's a great program. The Air Force supports it financially. And we actually get to take these young teenagers, they're 12 to up to 21 years old, on these orientation flights, and it's fun. Joe, what tell a little bit about what that experience was like to be able to take kids up flying.
Oh, it's just, I enjoyed it so much. First of all, these kids are like kids are. They are totally excited. They come up to you, and you are a pilot. You must be kind of almost near God for them.
Exactly. You're like an
And
astronaut.
yeah, and then you of course you diffuse this a little bit, and I would always go. I remember that. You get two cadets. One is riding up front, one is riding in the back, and then they would switch. And we're going to the airplane, and what all the time happens is they go to the right side of the airplane because
Right, right.
they know the pilot sits on the left side. And I would say, "Hey, where are you going?" And they would look at me with big eyes and say, "What does he want?" I said, "Well, no, 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 you're sitting on the left seat." Yes, and so I would place them on the left seat, and we would go through routines. And I remember my one of my plays was when we were taxiing down to the runway. I would look to the right, to my left, and say, "Hey, do you know how to fly an airplane?" And he looked at me, "Of course not." I said, "Dang it, what we're doing, I don't know either."
I love it. Oh my
So
gosh.
I would like to take this nervousness out of it, and just and it's such a wonderful experience to let these kids take the controls and make them take off. They don't know that you are just with your fingertips. Just you do it actually, but they have the feeling they do it.
Yeah, absolutely.
And then you go out with them over the harbor, and you can see this pride, joy. It's so wonderful. And if anybody ever thought about giving something to kids, do that.
Yeah,
Do
I
that.
I, I agree. All the things I've done with CAP, and you have too. I think being an orientation pilot is probably the most rewarding thing you can do because, and I think that leads to kind of our stories, mine and yours, and the things that we share. Um, and our own connections to aviation is that we have the ability in this organization, and of course that the podcast is about your story, but I do think we ought to share this, is that we have an opportunity in this organization and in others to actually inspire young people to do some of the things that you and I, especially you've had the courage to do despite all the roadblocks and the brick walls and things that kind of stood in your way. And I think that's a good time to lead into where I'd like to ask you to talk a little bit about your story. And I think it's a wonderful story. And take us back as far as you want to go, but please share with us some of that experience of when you were a young kid. And maybe we'll start with this. You've been a pilot now for how long?
15 years.
15 years. 15 years.
15
Can
years.
you think? And then I want to ask to talk about growing up in Germany. But can you think of when the time was where some event, something that happened where you've got that bug, that aviation bug that stayed with you? Can you think of when that might have been or what that circumstance was?
Well, let's go back. So maybe this is a little bit of a background, a personal background. I was born and raised in Germany. I have a German mom. She's still alive and strong. I just visited her a few weeks ago.
And how old is she?
Uh, she's 87.
87. Okay, go ahead. I'm sorry. That's amazing.
Yeah, and my father was an American U.S. officer based in Germany for a while, and I sadly never ever in my life met him. And we will come to that. It leads to stuff which I experienced. And my childhood was growing up with a stepfather, and let's make it short. My childhood was not that, how to say, enjoyable.
Understood.
But yeah, coming to your question, in 1969, I was 9 years old, and I was begging my parents that I could watch TV in the middle of the night, which
Oh,
was
wow.
normally unheard. You had to go to bed at least at 10. Normally, 8 o'clock, you could, that was traditionally German news time from 8 in the evening to 8:15. And after that, you got to go to your room. That's it.
Okay. Okay.
So, but I was begging, and I got allowed to sit all by myself in the middle of the night at a little 12-inch, I guess, black and white TV screen and watch one of the most impressive things mankind has done, and that was the landing on the moon.
Oh, wow. You got to
And
see it. On
I,
TV.
I
Yeah.
saw it on TV. It was live. It was actually, I remember sitting there and waiting that something happens because there was not that much happening for a
Right.
long time. You just heard talking control back and forth with the astronauts, and they were
Right.
going through checklists, and I had no idea what they were doing. But I was fascinated. I was fascinated about the idea of flying to the moon. Unbelievable.
Absolutely.
And that triggered, that is exactly the moment which triggered in me that I know I would become a pilot or an astronaut.
I
I
love
was nine years old. Yeah.
Isn't it amazing where, and I think it ties back into the conversation about orientation rides. We don't realize sometimes um, in life where there's these particular little moments that actually plant seeds that may not grow in the next year or 10 years, but at some point in your life, there's a seed planted that actually has fruit that happens some other time. And I think you watching the Apollo 11 landing, and by the way, I got to see it too, but I was only 4, so I don't remember a whole lot about it. But
Now you
but
make me look old.
oh, you're not that old. We're close. You could be my older brother. Well, you are. But anyway, but like orientation rights. So that sparked your interest, and you talked about growing up in Germany. Say more about your growing up in Germany, if you'd like, or what came next. Where did you find your dream to be a pilot go from there?
I was a little bit like you. How do you say, you Americans, the red-haired stepchild or something like
Yes.
that?
Yep.
And I was also treated like that in the meaning of it. And I left home very, very early. I was just barely 17 when I signed up for the German Air Force. And of course, it was clear what I will become. I will become a pilot. And now this starts, as everybody may know, with all the exams. You're going through a ton of different exams, and one of these exams is your medical exam. And now going through that, I remember the doctor coming in back to me and says, "Oh, Mr. Engelmann, I understand you want to be a pilot." I said, "Yeah." And it didn't matter for me what I would fly. I would have flown. If they said lawnmowers have wings, I would go fly lawnmowers. I don't care. But he says, that's not going to happen.
Mm.
And I was shocked. I said, why? Well, he said, Mr. Engelmann, you're wearing glasses. Without a 20/20 natural vision, you will not become a pilot, not in
Oh
the Air
man.
Force, not in civil aviation. There is no way. And there I'm sitting, as I said, barely 70 years old, 17 years old, and they just shattered my plan A.
Hmm.
And as teenagers are, you don't think I had a plan B, C, or D. Sure not.
Absolutely not.
There is no plan B. So
I'll
I
pause you for a second. I may have mentioned this to you before, but at the same age, a little bit younger, um, I too wanted to be a pilot from a very young age, and that's in my first podcast about my background. But when I went to get my medical, it wasn't in the military, but it was to solo. So I hadn't even soloed an airplane yet. I was told that I have defective color vision, and at that time, like you, a physical
yeah,
defect knocked out my dreams. And like you, I had no plan B or C or D. So anyway, I just wanted to share that because I think that's part of the connection we have. But go ahead, go ahead. So we both know that feeling, right?
yeah, so yeah, I'm sitting there, and these physician says, "Yeah, what do you want to do?" I said, "I have no idea.
Sure.
Is there any opportunity that I'm at least near aviation. We say, yeah, well, we need mechanics. And again, yeah, I said, okay, then I'm going to do that. Out of having no idea what to do,
Hmm.
I said, okay, you offer me that. I'm just going to take it. So, yeah, I became a Air Force helicopter mechanic.
Oh, a
On
helicopter mechanic. Oh, wow.
Yeah, and on a helicopter, which still I think more than 50% of the American population knows, the good old Huey.
Oh, yeah, from Vietnam.
Yep, I was a mechanic on the UH-1D. I think the Vietnam version was the earlier version, but
Sure.
they look the same, they sound the same, they smell the same. Uh,
It's the old
and
wop 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 air helicopter,
Yep,
right? Wop wop wop. Yep.
yeah, the sound of rescue. Believe it
Yes.
or not, these helicopters still fly in Europe, and they still use them for search and rescue.
Oh my goodness.
Yep,
Even today.
even
Wow.
today. Yeah.
Wow.
So yeah, I became a helicopter mechanic. I got the joy from time to time, sit in the back and fly with helicopters. Of
Oh
course, I
wow.
never got
That was
at the
great.
controls. Yeah.
Uh,
And 4 years later, I got the opportunity to apply to become a cross-servicing officer on the A-10. Background story for that is we're talking about I joined the Air Force 1977. We were still in the middle of the Cold War and the Fulda Doctrine, with all our thinking about tank battles and all of that was still in full power. And
sure.
there comes up this one airplane which is made for that, and that was the A-10,
The A-10 Warthog. Yep. Yep.
the tank destroyer per se. And a the Americans had stationed a big number of A-10s in Bentwaters, England, and they needed an auxiliary air base in Germany. And my air base in the little town of Aalhorn, nobody knows that one, um, kind of won the deal, and we built shelters there for the A-10, and they would regularly come over to our airport to be maintained, fueled, because they would go all the way to the north of Germany where there was a shooting range for them. So, to the circle, they needed a liaison between the German Air Force and the US Air Force, and I became the guy who led a little squadron of mechanics and was out of sudden cross-servicing officer for the
Oh
A-10,
wow.
working very, very closely with the American pilots, um, which led to improving my knowledge of the English language a lot. Good thing I didn't know what it was good for. Nowadays I do.
And we'll hear more
And
about that later too. I
yeah,
know.
and well, I had very good times. I learned that the American Officers Club is way better stocked than the German Officers Club.
Oh really?
Yeah, it was. We had
It's,
good times there. I learned a lot. You always learn, even if you are not determined to learn, you still learn, uh, and that's a good thing.
and I'm glad you said that, because one of my somebody else I was talking to recently was saying that, you may be in a job or an experience that you're doing right now that's not what you want to be doing, but if you treat it more like a time of education
Yeah.
and not something you have to endure until you achieve what you want, that it's a time to grow, that it changes your perspective on it. And it sounds like, you weren't chasing your dream as a pilot, but you were around aviation, the A-10 Warthog, an incredible airplane. You were growing and learning a skill, the English language, that would come in handy soon. Yeah,
Right
yeah,
now.
right now. So you had this experience. You were leading this crew of mechanics. You were getting to know Air Force officers and pilots. You were growing. How long were you in the Air Force before you left the Air Force? How long had you
Well,
served?
I did 8 years.
8 years. Okay.
And
And
I
and
left. I would have, everybody thinks, hey, man, why did you not do a career at the Air Force? You were already settled, you were on the right pace. Well, I am maybe not the material where, and I don't mean that in a bad way, where followers are made out.
are you
I have
saying you're a leader,
maybe,
a
maybe, and before you
rebel leader?
I am maybe that is also true. I was throughout all my childhood, I was a rebel.
See, if I think of you as a person, one of the people characters in Star Wars, I don't think you would be with the Empire. You'd probably be a part of the rebellion.
Very, very much true. So yes,
I'll just
I
call
would.
you Luke. I'll call you Luke Skywalker from now on. How's that?
Well, yeah, well, yeah,
Well, going back to going back to the Air Force. So you
I,
left the Air Force.
I was. I mean, I was okay, but I was not.
Yeah, I got you.
So after 8 years, I decided I have to get out of here, and I did. And I thought, yeah, well, I learned a lot. Yeah,
Hmm.
the Air Force teaches their mechanics really, really well.
On that. Yeah,
You know a lot of stuff which I would say in civilian aviation that people don't know.
sure.
So I thought, yeah, let's work as a aircraft mechanic in the civilian aviation. And I snooped around, and again, um, I was still young enough not to have plan A, B, C, and D. And I snooped around, and I discovered, well, everything you learned at the Air Force is worth nothing in civilian aviation because they don't acknowledge that.
Wait a
You have
minute.
to start over.
So you're saying your credentials in the military don't transfer over in Germany to the civilian world?
No, I would
Oh
have
my
to
gosh.
start as an apprentice again.
Oh my gosh. After 8 years.
Yes. And additionally to that, I discovered, well, hey, you know what? If you work as an aircraft mechanic on an airfield on Cessna 172s or something like that, your pay is about as good as the auto mechanics get.
Oh my gosh.
So, yeah, I didn't want that.
Sure.
So,
Yeah.
additionally to that, I get divorced. I
Mm.
married very early, very, very early. I was barely, I think I would just turn 19.
Oh my. I'm familiar with that.
Uh, yeah, I think it is, it's sometimes people, I think all people need kind of a family.
Hmm.
And I was away from family. I was very distanced from family. And I think my intention, without thinking about it, was creating my own family,
Hmm.
would substitute that, which does not work. I know
Sure.
that.
Yeah.
But you very often follow your feelings, and not all the time it is a good decision. Only follow your feelings.
Yeah.
Think one or twice, two times about it helps. But okay, I went through a divorce, and I thought I need to do something. So I went back to college. There was a technical college not far away, And technical colleges in Germany have a very strict schedule, 8 to 3 every day. There is no
Wow.
choosing of your lectures. There is a firm schedule, and you do it or you don't. That's it.
Oh my
Uh,
goodness.
well, it's fine,
Yeah.
but
Very, very different from the U.S. today, but because I
yeah,
like most of my classes, I went on Tuesdays and Thursdays only, but that way I can kind of hang out the rest of the time. But okay, anyway, so 8 to 3 every day. Wow, Monday through
yeah,
Friday.
and there comes something up which we all sometimes struggle with, and that is money. You're 26 now, almost 27, and you're divorced. You got to pay for your kids, which sadly we're now without their dad, but that's another story again. And money is scarce.
Yep.
So I needed a source of income, and I was thinking about there was an adult school in my little town, and adult schools in Germany teach only in the evening.
Okay.
So I went there to the director of the school and said, "Hey, do you need a teacher?" And
Huh.
he said, a matter of fact, he said, "Yeah, we do. We have new classes, IT, we really need teachers." And this happened, I remember that very well, on a Friday afternoon. And I said, "I'm your man. When do the classes start?" And he said, "Yeah, well, you can have next week, Monday evening, 6 to 8, introduction to that time was MS DOS, the Microsoft Disk Operating System. I don't know, version something."
Oh my gosh. And wait. Let me just make sure I got this. So you're going back to school as a student,
Yep.
but you're also going to serve as a teacher. I know there's more to this story. Go ahead.
Well, so I'm telling the director immediately to say, "I'm your man. I take the job." Well, handshaking, and I knew Monday evening at 6 o'clock I will be at that school. I will be teaching.
Did you know anything about MS DOS?
Coming.
Oh,
Um,
okay.
so I'm walking back home to my then girlfriend, and she said, "How did it go?" I said, "I got a job." "What are you teaching?" I said, "Yeah, I'm teaching computer science." And she looks at me and said, "Joe, you have no," and I will not say the word, "idea about computer science." I said, "Yes, that's correct, but Monday I will." So I called my brother, Christian, and said, "Brother, I need a loan." He said, "What do you need the loan for?" I said, "I need to buy a computer." So I got a loan from my brother. Saturday morning, I went to one of the big electronic shops. I bought a computer. I bought a 9 needle printer, and spent Saturday and Sunday reading manuals and trying stuff out. Went Monday to college, and Monday evening I taught my first class.
Wow. Wow. Okay, so hang on. But knowing you for the last 15 years, 14 years, however long it's been,
Yeah,
I'm not surprised by this. But just so folks get a sense of this, this was in the 80s.
it was, yeah, it was in the 80s. It was
So
85 or 86.
So, folks, in the 80s, when you bought a computer and you didn't ever use a computer before, and you're doing like basic programming, like 10, go to line 1, 20. This is the way you program. 20, go back to line 1 and do this, and blah blah blah. And you're using MS DOS. If you ever open up your computer where it says terminal and it's a black screen,
That's it.
This guy that I'm talking to had never done any of this. He goes out and buy. How much was the computer in the 80s?
4,000 D-marks, German marks.
Dear God. So, folks, $4,000 in the 80s is probably 10 grand now or more.
More.
And you do this, and okay, so okay, how did this all turn out?
Well, eh, I am in the classroom and a lot of adults. I think my first class was 17 people.
17 people. Holy
Yeah,
cow.
yeah, and well, I did good, but of course I got questions where I had no clue how to answer them. And my
Well, I got
tactic,
one. Teacher, I got one. What is a 9-pin printer?
yeah. Well, we think about we to nowadays these people they click an icon and they get the directory of files and all of that. And that was all not existing. You
Right.
would do something like MD on the black screen, and that make directory, and then you got to remember how to find it, and it's a
It,
totally different world. So my tactic was all the time, I would say, that is a very good question, and I value your question, but it does not really fit in the teaching concept of today. So please keep your question when we meet, and we would meet Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. So if when we are coming together Wednesday, please remind me about that question. I promise I will give you an answer. That
this
was my way
technique,
out.
by the way, this technique comes up today. I'm just saying, well, we talk later. So you're teaching, you're in school. What happened next? How,
Oh, wait. So I'm teaching all these adult people, and I found out, well, they have a reason for taking these classes. The reason is they want to learn how to operate computers. And again, we are talking about the very early time of when personal computers came onto the market. And these people who learn to operate a computer need a computer, right?
right, right.
So, conclusion is, what if I sell computers to them? So I
You are
found it.
you are an entrepreneur.
So I founded a small company, one man band, and you could buy these times. You buy the parts you needed for computers in Taiwan, Japan, and stuff like that. 20 megabyte hard disk was top of the line.
I got
I,
more than
I
I got more
megabytes.
than that. I got more than that on a little. Oh my lord, that was big back then though. I started using computers in that same
That
time
was
frame. That
big,
was
yeah.
that's a lot of storage.
So I would assemble computers in my living room, and I'm selling them. And while I was doing that, I would also take from the school, the adult school would give me more classes, more specialized classes. The then how nowadays everybody knows Excel. That was
Hmm.
not existing. It was multi-plan. But
Okay.
the first version of Word 1.0, was
Oh my
already on the
gosh.
market, and CAD came up, computer aided design. Now
Okay.
me, now me studying mechanical engineering
This is
and
what you were
CAD,
studying in school. Okay.
yes, and CAD, it clicked immediately. So I specialized more and more into that. And I taught it. And a funny side story, my professor at that college, who was supposed to teach CAD, Was in the same situation I was before. He had no clue. He was an old-fashioned professor. He could draw you anything complicated, but doing that with a computer was totally out of his uh, knowledge.
Sure.
So we made a deal. I sold him a computer and a CAD program. And our deal was I teach him at home secretly how to use that CAD program so he could teach it at college. And I was allowed to stay out of his classes except for the exams. It gave me a little bit more time to work on the
So,
side.
so you're a negotiator, not a con man, but a little bit of a negotiator. Is that? I'm kidding. I'm kidding.
Hey, I got to make a living.
You got to make a living. That's pretty awesome. So you were using, and we refer to it as CAD,
Yeah.
or CAD, CAD design. So you went from DOS to teaching CAD
Yeah.
and teaching your professor CAD, and you were studying mechanical engineering. It's almost like this path was being, you were on this path that you hadn't quite realized, but everything that you had done in the past was leading to something
It
interesting, isn't it?
was, I mean, being a mechanic and taught very well at the Air Force, of course, helped me for my studies as a mechanical engineer. This flowed
Yeah.
together.
Yeah.
I even didn't think about it before I took the decision to go that path, but it just helped. And having the background of mechanical engineering, of course, helps you to do computer-aided design in that direction.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
And
So
yeah, sorry.
no,
Go
no, no,
ahead.
no, no, no. I was just wondering. So you have this company. You're selling computers. You're teaching. You're learning. You're building your skills. What transpired after that? What led? What was the next? What was the next transition for you?
So, of course, selling computers and having knowledge about CAD, uh, mouse to mouse is helping, and more companies were taking my services. And I finished college, got my bachelor's degree, and I think about half a year, maybe 9 months later, uh, the CEO of a company I was doing already business with calls me up and said, Joe, uh, we need to meet. I said, okay, good. I was expecting maybe he has some project and he wants me in to do a proposal. Well, I had no idea. And I'm coming there for the meeting, and he says, Joe, we're going to buy your company. And yeah, I was looking like I'm looking up.
Wow.
And and I was doing good business with them. And this company was specialized. It was one of Europe's biggest producers of stainless steel bar equipment.
Okay.
We're talking about a company who had almost 1,000 employees.
Oh my goodness.
So
And this behemoth wanted to buy your company.
yes,
Did did
my
you do a
little,
little dance?
I did not. Uh, I kept my composure, and I said, okay, what is your idea about what are you going to pay? And he told me, and then was the where I really had to keep my composure because it was a very good offer, including me being 2 years uh, managing inside his company this new branch.
Uh-huh.
It was all about transferring CAD designs to CNC numeric processing mills, presses, and
Oh,
stuff like
wow. So
that.
you were converting designs to the machines that actually take those designs and using steel or whatever the product is to actually create a part or several
Correct.
parts for the
Yeah.
use in the product. Okay, wow, that's incredible. Wait a
That
minute,
lab.
you went from MS-DOS to CNC machines. And you went
Yeah.
from being a mechanic to being a guy who designs equipment. Okay, keep going. You got me. I'm in. I'm in. Keep
Well,
going.
I took the offer, and nevertheless, it was just too good not to
Yeah.
say yes. And I worked for that company 2 years. Actually, did. I think I was the first in Germany to do programs which would take CAD data
Hmm.
and transfer it to one of the first welding robots in Germany.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
Dude, you
So
were on the cutting edge of technology like crazy.
I had this opportunity, and everybody would say, "Man, Joe, you are made.
Oh yeah.
You got to stay there until you go for retirement, and that's it." But there comes old Joe again, the rebel.
Luke
Uh,
Skywalker.
First of all, that company, we're talking still 80s. You have to wear a suit and tie
uh,
every day because you're a leader, right? You're documenting your leadership with clothes, which I honestly, until today, say that's not the way how you document leadership.
right, right.
That's like the king wears the crown that makes him the king. No, that's not true. Uh, I am not a suit and tie guy. I am
Yeah,
not.
yeah.
And big companies always are slow. You think you wake up in the morning with an idea and you start realizing and doing this in the afternoon? No.
Yeah.
You're going through 56 hubs before even somebody says, okay, Joe, you have a budget and you may start in 6 months. That's totally
Yeah,
not Joe.
yeah,
That's
yeah.
not me.
You're too much of an entrepreneur for that. You got to be able to react just from what you're saying.
Yeah. So after
So
2 years,
how long did it last?
2 years,
2 years.
my contract was 2 years. I did 2 years and I went out. And I founded a new company.
Oh my, wait a minute. Again, I'm not surprised. Tell us about company number two, Mr. Entrepreneur, Engineer, Pilot Wannabe.
Yeah. So we are talking now about the late 80s.
Okay.
Internet is coming up. Basics. We're talking about absolute basics. We're talking about modems. Nobody nowadays knows what a modem is.
No, but if
You,
you can remember the sound, you've just aged yourself, you know?
yeah. We had a data transfer rate of 19,600 baud, and that was top of the line.
Oh
Uh,
my
don't
gosh.
think about transfer a picture. No,
Oh, mm-mm.
not happening. But it was new technology, and I saw something in new technology, and I saw potential.
Sure.
So my new company would deal with databases, networking, internet.
Mm.
Because
Oh,
what is
wow.
internet? It's nothing else than networking through the air.
Yep, absolutely. Yep, yep.
And we were doing good. And now I take a leap. We were doing very well. And now I'm going forward, fast forward to 1999. And a lot of people have heard about the millennium bug.
The Millennium Bug from
Millennium bug, that's
from
it.
2000, the year 2000. Yes.
The reason for that was that a lot of programs, we had to save bits and bytes because our storage was not big. I'm
Sure.
talking about 20 megabytes of hard disk. I'm talking about nowadays we're talking about a gigabyte or several gigabytes of computer memory. Hell, guys, we were talking about of 256 kilobytes of
Kilobytes.
computer.
Yep.
Yeah. So your programs, when you concepted and programmed them, they had to be small. They
Yeah.
couldn't use that much memory.
Yep.
So people programmed the year in 2 digits.
Hmm.
That worked all fine until year 2000 came up. And now year 2000 would be 00, and the programs would take that as 1900.
I remember that. Yes.
And that
And
would
and
not
the,
work.
no, and all the companies, and I worked for, I was with Sears Corporate during that
Mhm.
time, Sears Roebuck and Company, and we were truly frightened what the Millennium Bug would actually wind up doing to a network that serviced 800 stores and distribution centers
Yeah,
across the United States, Puerto Rico, Canada, and all over the place. So
yeah.
this was huge. I remember that. Yes.
Oh, that was huge. And I was working on that a little bit already, adjusting. Actually, I was working for a bank in
Mhm.
Germany. They contracted my company to fix stuff. And there comes this guy. I know him. He was bigwig in sports. And he was very casual and comes to my office and says, Joe, I know you're a data mixer. We have a problem. I said, okay, what's the problem? I said, yeah, we are scheduling sports matches. You know, just go into that for a short moment. Nobody really thinks about it. But if you think about let's say, NBL,
Hmm.
there are maybe 18 teams and you have a
Wow.
season.
Yeah.
You have to schedule who is meeting whom for a game, where, at what time.
Right.
You have
Right.
to schedule the referees going there. You have to
Yeah.
schedule other people, which are officials, going there. Everything of that ties together. You have to make sure, let's say an example, Eric Cooter is the referee for game A, scheduled for Saturday evening, 1800, to be in Miami. But what if somebody else scheduled you for game B, Saturday night at 2000 in Minneapolis?
Yeah.
We are having a
Absolutely.
conflict that needs. So he said, our program has the year 2000 bug. You got to fix that. I said, okay, what's the budget? Yeah, we have 5,000 euro for that.
But 5,000
Oh,
euro?
5,000 euro. I said, okay, I'm looking into it. I took my team. We went over the programming. We looked at it. There was no way to reprogram that inside the budget. There was no way.
Sure, sure.
So I was thinking about it and thinking about it, and I found it intriguing. I found the whole idea, how they do this, intriguing, and I discovered also they all lived on islands. So let me say it this way: the guy who is organizing leagues in Indian River County would do that on its own. And then the guy who is organizing leagues in Broward, the adjoining county, would
Sure.
do it on its own. And then they would meet personally and try to adjust these schedules. So
Oh
they
my
had,
gosh.
and now I am only talking about 2 counties. Think about that nationwide.
Oh my
That's what they
gosh.
did. And they were all volunteers giving an, an amount, a big amount of time into that to make it all happen. So I had an
Hmm.
idea, and I'm pretty good at having ideas. Not all of them are good, but
No, no, but that makes sense. I mean, that's part of being a good entrepreneur.
so I asked for a meeting, and we went into that meeting. I said, Wolfgang, his name was Wolfgang. I said, Wolfgang, there is no way that we can fix this problem inside the budget you have. Yeah, well, what we're going to do, this is not happening. We need to do something. That was how he was. I said, here's what I will do. I will fix it, and I will take no money. And he was, of course, that got his attention. I said, here's the deal. Here's the deal. I will fix it. I will fix it in a way which has not been done before. But your job is you got to promote this software inside the sport organizations because I know you're well connected.
Very
That was the
smart.
deal we made.
Very smart.
So we
You did
rewrote. Yeah,
you didn't
sorry.
have to hire a sales director. You
My company was too small for having a sales director. I was everything. I was HR, I was CEO, I was sales director, and if needed, I was a janitor.
So what happened? So you
They
created the
agreed.
software.
They agreed to do that, and we started making the software, and it takes time. Of course, it does, and there are always roadblocks in the software.
Oh yeah.
But what we did was, and we were the first ones in Europe to do that. I don't
In
know.
Europe.
I can't say worldwide, but I can say for sure Europe. We made a software for scheduling, which would do in the back automatically transfer the data via internet into a database, and this software would automatically look for conflicts in the scheduling and would inform you immediately about, hey,
Oh
what you are
my.
setting up right now has a conflict right there. This is the reason for the conflict.
Wow.
That
Wow.
that was a revolution, and I got to show you that sometimes.
I'd love to see it.
I have newspaper articles with me on a big picture on a whole page of the newspaper. And it's saying, yeah, this company is doing a revolution
Wow.
how things are done.
Wow. So this is incredible. I mean, you talk about reinvention. You're on your fourth reinvention already, or fifth.
Kind of.
What happened with the company? What happened after that?
Well, we were doing well. I did not sell the software. So think
Smart.
about this. You could not buy this software. We're talking about 2000. Everything you needed for doing on computers, you would buy.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah.
But you couldn't buy my software. You could only lease it. And um,
Wow.
every sports club in Germany, in Austria, in Switzerland, and some part of Spain would lease my software for a very small amount of money monthly.
You retained rights for the software. You retained control of the software. You got an automatic, amazing cash flow. Um, and the word was spreading that you had something that everybody wanted.
Yep. So
Brilliant.
we were doing well. I had at that time, and now we're talking about the time 2000 until 2014, 15, I think. What is now 25?
25. Yeah.
Go 16 years back, we're talking about 2008, 9.
Hmm.
Yeah, so I had that company until 2009.
Wow.
Everything going very well. I had 11, 12 employees. Um, and there comes something I did not see coming, but it's in my personal life. There comes a
Mm.
divorce,
Oh, goodness.
pretty bad divorce.
Yeah.
A lot of fighting, unusual and unnecessary, but life happens.
Yeah. Yeah.
That was the first thing. And now I gotta take a loop way, way back to my childhood. I
Oh,
told
please.
you
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
have an
Yeah.
American father.
Yes.
I had no idea about my American father. I got knowledge of it through an aunt when I was 14. And my mom, when I was 18, gave me two empty envelopes from letters my father had sent to her.
Oh, wow.
That was the first time I got knowledge of his name. And the letters were from 1959 and 1960 from two American Air Force bases. One was Biloxi, I
Wow.
remember.
Biloxi, Mississippi. Okay.
Yeah, and his name was Dale Harper. So from there on, I have been searching for my father, trying to gain data,
Yeah.
trying to somehow find out about him, who he was, what he was. And I actually never really gained anything. Little bits and pieces from people who knew him in Germany,
Hmm.
59 and 60, but that's
Sure.
it. I even I even hired a retired CIA person
Oh, wow.
to do some research, but it was nothing worked.
And this was during a time where it was difficult. Now you can look stuff up on the internet. That was difficult to gain that
There
kind of
was no
information.
way. There was
Yeah.
no information to have. So now, spooling forward, um, during my divorce time, it started 44.
Hmm.
Um, I think I was 46, something like that,
Sure. Okay.
47. Uh, I got knowledge of an organization existing in Great Britain and England, which was helping kids like me
Hmm.
searching for their American father. Now, the background is
Wow.
during World War II and after, of course, we had a lot of American soldiers on the European soil.
Sure.
And if life happens, they fathered children and then they disappeared.
Yeah. Yeah. I've heard about that. Yeah. Yeah.
So this organization was helping with that. And this organization also did something. They forced a law in the United States, which now forced the American Registry of the Armed Forces to give out data if you could prove your reason of interest.
Oh, wow.
This,
Interesting.
yeah, and this organization pointed me to a woman in Berlin, which was the German representative
Representative. Yeah. Yeah. Good job.
of that organization. I came in contact with her, and she said, "Okay, Joe, I have heard your story. You won't believe how often already.
Mm.
This is what you do. I give you the address of the registry, but I also give you a name of a person which you CO, please. Because if you write the registry only, that will take forever until they answer.
So,
But
so
I
that she
have,
had somebody that you were to copy on your letter. I got you.
yeah,
Okay. Gotcha.
he said if you copy him on the letter, it will go much faster.
Gotcha.
So
Okay.
I did that, not really expecting anything fast. But 3 weeks later, I have a letter from the US.
3 weeks.
3 weeks.
Wow.
And now in that letter, I only get, of course, the military data. So my
Sure.
dad left the US Air Force 1967, and his last known address was Houston, Texas.
Houston, Texas. Okay.
Houston, Texas. And that was, I did not know it that time, but that was my breakthrough for 30 years of searching for knowledge about my father.
Yeah.
So now my name, no, my father's name is Dale Harper.
Okay.
Do you have an idea how many Harpers you have in the United States?
Oh my gosh, I can't imagine.
I think there were around 4 million Harpers. It's like Muller,
Oh my
Meyer, or
gosh.
Schmitz. We have a lot of Harpers, a lot.
Wow.
So what I did was, I knew 1967 Houston. I went into the internet and downloaded the so-called white papers, the phone book of
The phone book,
Houston,
yeah.
the phone book of Houston. It's a huge file. And then I looked for Harper's, and I don't remember exactly, but I think you had 24 or 27 pages of Harper's in Houston.
So folks, we didn't have we didn't have been verified or any of those kind of things that you can do now. Yeah, a phone book was usually about this thick for a large city like Houston.
Yep.
It had yellow pages in the back, which were all advertisements, and the
Yep.
first pages were how you found your friends. There was no Google.
Yeah.
And you had to go, okay, I'm going to find the H's. Here's H's, Harper. Here we go. And what Joe's saying is there were 24 to 27 pages of Harper's. And if I hear you right, did you call as many as you could?
Well, here's what I did.
Okay.
First of all, luckily, we already had phone software.
Yeah.
So I didn't have to use a landline, which would have
Good.
been outrageous expense.
Oh, yeah, because you had to do the dial thing.
Now we had already the push buttons.
Sure, gotcha. Okay.
So what I did is I got up every night at 2 o'clock in the morning, because 6 hours of time difference.
You're in Germany calling.
Yep.
US. Okay.
And I called Harper's in Houston. Line by line.
Oh my gosh.
Cold call with a story about me and looking for my dad.
Hey friends, it's Eric, and I'm inviting you to tune in for part 2 of my conversation with my dear friend Joe Engelmann. In the next episode, Joe takes us on the next leg of his incredible journey, from finding his American father that he never knew, to discovering that he had 2 sisters that he didn't know he had, to leaving Germany and building a new life in the United States. And as if that's not enough, Joe finally fulfills his lifelong dream of becoming a professional pilot. It is a story of perseverance, discovery, and the power of chasing what truly matters. Listen now to part 2 of Joe Engelmann's story, available on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, iHeart, and also available on YouTube or wherever you listen.